Okay, so wonderful warm welcome this afternoon to Sally, and for our listeners this afternoon we've got an amazing person to come in to speak to us on the British Business Podcast, and what I'd like to do straight away is hand over to Sally to give you a little bit of background into Sally and what she's done and where she is at the moment, and so if you wouldn't mind, Sally, is that okay?
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Yes, so I'm Sally Pettipher, and I ask anybody that wishes to connect to find me on LinkedIn. I am the only Sally Pettipher in the world with Pettipher. So you can find me, and that's easy. And I'm here to talk to you about love of the game.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. So can you just explain a little bit of background about love of the game, where it came from, and where you are today? So the journey that you've been on to get to this particular point.
So in terms of journeys, I would say this is a 100-metre sprint. This is not a marathon. We started Love of the Game. It's a charitable campaign to treat concussion in sports people.
Okay.
Big issue at the moment. And I've done a lot of work in sport, particularly with rugby players, and it's something that worries them. So a year ago, exactly, we started a campaign, three of us, a very entrepreneurial businessman, an international rugby legend who's called Simon Shaw, or Shawsy to his mates,
Sure.
and myself, I'm the idiot in the gang. And we decided that it's a desperately difficult issue, and we need solutions. So Love of the Game is a solutions-based campaign finding technology that will prevent, diagnose or cure concussion. And that helps both immediate issues, things like persistent concussion syndrome, but it also might help with this long-term dementia issue that we're all concerned about. So we started this campaign and just said, you know what, UK, medicine, academia, research, they're just the best in the world.
Wow.
Let us apply ourselves, as we did with COVID, in a dedicated fashion to finding solutions, and that's what we've done.
So the two people other than yourself who are in this, what do you call it? Do you call it?
We call it a campaign. We're registering
campaign.
as a charity, but it's a campaign.
Okay. And the two other people that are involved in that are?
So we founded it with Simon Shaw, who is second row rugby player for England and British Lions, and Wasps was his club, and a guy called Lawrence Geller CBE, and he is an international businessman, but also very early in his career was a Wasps player, and indeed I think the youngest and first Jewish player for England rugby.
Wow.
And he's also a dementia expert, so one of his businesses is dementia care homes. So we all have this real concern about vascular damage in the brain.
Okay.
And my background includes science and some technology, and I knew from my other work that there are things that can be done really quickly, really quickly to deal with this. And that's what I set out to do, rather than... I know there are a lot of people suffering and there's a lot of money being raised for welfare and concern, and that's absolutely right. But I said, let's find a solution.
Wow, that's amazing.
So in the last year, the first thing we did was a hackathon. Do you know about hackathons?
No, what's a hackathon?
A hackathon. So a hackathon was born out of the software industry, where you just get a pile of people together and you go, well, we've got this problem. Let's lock the doors. 48 hours, absolute sweatbox, come up with a solution. And so many new technical solutions have come out of those.
Would that in the olden days be called a brainstorming?
Well, maybe, but it was really quite technical. It moved into, having screwdrivers and sticky back plastic and, literally designing prototypes in a room. And these things took off, and then they moved into industry. So we had, in the middle of COVID lockdown, March 2021, the first hackathon in sport, through all our different connections, but my sort of academic connections, we got really bright PhD students, faculty and students from Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial College, Royal College of Art and Design. We were sponsored by Princess Charlene of Monaco. We had Sunday Times sports correspondent as a judge. And we did a virtual hackathon with all these students, and we threw at them the problem of people are getting consistent, repetitive, minor brain injuries that may lead to long-term problems. How do we stop it? Boom. We didn't offer them anything. We just said, go away for 48 hours in online teams, come back with some ideas. And we had prizes. We had prizes for the best solution for children, the best technology for women, the best technology for elite, the best one for prevention, the best one for diagnosis. And we had 6 prize winners over 48 hours with new headbands for cheerleaders. Who knew cheerleaders have massive concussion issues?
No way.
Well, because they throw them up in the air and they hit their heads all the time.
Of course.
And something that works for cheerleaders works for gymnasts, it works for judo players, it works for anybody who's being thrown on the ground.
Wow.
So they won the best prize for women. We had loads of technology. So we did the first Hackathon in Sport with all of these amazing students. That was great fun. And we then worked an awful lot with the British government. So the British government has a role to play in creating policy to protect people.
Okay.
People, the population,
Yep.
their population, rather than the sports bodies that have very differing, they have very differing issues to deal with. You were a cricketer
Yes.
and a footballer.
Yes.
You know, the issues of injuries in football are very different to the issues of injuries in cricket, where you've got one very fast ball coming at you.
Yeah, very hard.
Very hard. Versus sort of heading the ball in football. Rugby as a contact sport is very different to motorsport, which is very different to cycling.
Sure.
So any of these sports that have helmets have recognised,
Yes.
An occasional but catastrophic opportunity to hurt yourself.
Yes.
And maybe a
Wow.
helmet will help. Whereas the sports with concussion have yet to get to that. Do you know what? Actually, we need to do something about this. And government can play a part in setting some basic parameters for how we deal with protecting our people.
Wow.
So we were working with them, and our chairman, Lawrence Geller, has since been made the official ministerial advisor on concussion in sport to Her Majesty's government. So the government response to how we deal with this mentions the Love of the Game hackathon and its new technologies. And then just before Christmas, we had our first demo day. And demo day was all of these technologies that had come out of hackathon, how far they'd developed, and then new technologies from all over the world, things that are FDA approved in the USA, but
Okay.
we're not using them in the UK.
Okay.
So our campaign is unearthing these amazing technologies. We have because we are completely impartial and charitable, there's no sense of, we're promoting that one over that one.
Yes.
We are just evaluating them all, highlighting them to the world, saying, we think this one really works, as does this one, go and use it. And Demo Day was highlighting 6 of those that have come forward. And then this coming year, 2022, we'll do the same.
Wow. So you said earlier something that I was really interested in. You said this is a sprint.
Well, it's a sprint because medical research normally takes years and years.
Yes.
It takes hundreds of millions of pounds. It takes decades. And actually, there is technology out there that can help immediately.
Wow.
And the great thing about sports bodies and sports people are determined by performance.
Yes.
If they're injured, they want to be back on that pitch.
Yes.
And we do not want to kill our games. We don't want to stop tackles in
No.
rugby. We don't want to stop headers in football. Imagine how dull that would be. So what we need are things that can actually help people right now. And that's what we've done. We've got this fabulous brain scanner from America. It can do you a brain scan in 6 minutes. My boss owns a rugby club. His is the first professional sports club that is going to be trialling this piece of technology in the UK, because if it gets approved in the UK, we can use it here immediately. We don't need 10 years of research to do that. And there are sports people out there going, yeah, I'll have it now, thank you.
Excuse the pun, but it sounds like a game changer.
It is a game changer. It is.
Wow.
And there's lots of stuff, lots of mouthguard technology coming forward.
Sure.
It's not about protecting your teeth, it's got impact assessors in there. Because, of course, it's attached to your skull.
Yes.
So, a number of them will sense an impact. What's the scale and severity of the impact? Some of them will tell you the shearing force. So if you're a boxer, it'll say it's come from here up to there, and what that's done to your brain.
Wow.
So there's some really fascinating technology, lots of those coming forward. Question, will sports people wear them? So imagine you've got a gum shield that's like this big.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Is that going to restrict your breathing?
I'm not going to wear it. A rugby
Image
player,
rights.
Yeah, exactly. Rugby player with scrum cap. I talk to rugby players, and they are that's moving that way. But there was a time, I'm not wearing a scrum cap. And scrum caps are really designed to stop grazes and cauliflower ears. They are not designed to prevent head injuries, but they could be.
Okay.
But if in preventing a head injury you end up not being able to see, that's a bit of an impediment to the game.
Wow.
So that's where love of the game comes in. We love our games, we want to protect the sports we love, and there are really immediate technologies that can help.
Our listeners might be out there thinking to themselves, how can I get involved?
Get hold of me.
Okay.
Get hold of me. As we're so new, we have a website, loveofthegame.org. There's no .uk on there, loveofthegame.org. But even that's, being designed as we go. So if you want to help, and help can span, I would like to be part of the trials of this new brain scanner.
Awesome.
I would like to be part of the trials of high-dose oxygen therapy to repair vascular damage in the brain. It can be, I'm willing to come to a fundraiser, I'm willing to share the message on my social media platforms. I've got a technology that I think could be pivoted to help.
Wow.
And I'm really, really interested in treatments and cures.
Sure.
So I would say that the predominance of technology that we have had highlighted to us is prevention. There's a real thing about diagnosis, about how bad is that head injury.
Yes.
Our heads are very well designed to protect us, but also means you can't see inside them very well.
Yes.
So if you've got a muscle tear, you'll know this. You can grade it 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Your recovery, your treatment is graded on that. Brain, no idea. We're in the dark ages. So the brain scanner is a helpful diagnostic, potentially, should our new project this year prove that to be the case. But curing the damage. So look, successive vascular damage in the brain, how do you repair that? How do you make it not a long-term problem? And this really interesting technology, but much less interesting technology than prevention. So I want to find a cure.
Wow. Absolutely fascinating. Fantastic to learn of this. Myself have been involved in sport for many years, and I can't wait to get on the website and give my little bit back and help, and can't wait to do that.